Life channel.
Friday editions of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley are the five-star shows that we promise you one a week. We're going to endeavor to give you a five-star show. It is, of course, Friday. Batteries not included, by the way. You have to buy your own. Sorry about that. 29th day of March, 2024. I'm Dan Coots, your host. We have a few high clouds out there. It is 37 degrees. We're going to have slightly unsettled weather today. We're going to be considerably warmer. We only hit 51 on Thursday. We'll be a little bit warmer up on the old thermostat today, and then a very pleasant holiday weekend, really right into the early part of next week, which of course is April. April comes our way on Monday. We'll see highs topping off in the 70s Monday and Tuesday. Still lots of sunshine for most of next week. We're just going to cool down to where we should be this time of the year. A complete weather forecast for the holiday weekend is coming up. I think you're going to like what you're going to see. A lot of news. It's been a very busy week in the newsroom, and yesterday was no exception. We'll have a lot of things to talk about when we get to that. Opening day of the baseball season. Well, the Red Sox got the better part of the Mariners. We'll have highlights of that. But the Kraken, they won again because they got to play the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, who quite frankly stink. Plus all the prep scores from yesterday and the prep schedule for the weekend. We'll cover all of that in sports. And speaking of sports, tonight, Game 1 of the Western Hockey League's first round of the playoffs. The Wenatchee Wild are the number 4 seed. They're welcoming the Kelowna Rockets to town, the number 5 seed, so we do have home ice advantage. We want to win both the games this weekend. Friday night, tonight, 7 o'clock, tomorrow, 6 o'clock at the Town Toyota Center. Austin Dryday will preview the Wild as they go for, I can't remember the name of the championship cup in the WHS, like the Williams Cup or something. I forgot what it was, but that's the goal. It starts tonight. 2 minutes after the hour, let's go ahead and do our tour around north central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley with our cameras. You can see the clouds are there. They're going to be leaving as the day progresses. We'll see mostly sunny skies. It's dry right now. We only got to 51 on Thursday. Our normal high was 56, so we kind of undershot our afternoon high. More of that cool air was still kind of hanging around there. Sunrise this morning, 6:44. Sunset tonight. I think we can safely say tonight now. 7:27, that's 12 hours and 43 minutes of daylight. We gain about 3 minutes of daylight, a little over 3 minutes of daylight every day throughout the course of the month of March. Good morning to the valley from our Heights camera. Billy Goat's looking mighty fine indeed. Good morning to Omak, Okanagan, Pateros down there, the mighty Medhow and the mighty Columbia. Can't see Bridgeport. It's tucked behind the ridge there. Good morning to Omak, Okanagan. Riverside is 36 in Omak right now. Omak, by the way, quick heads up, Omak, Okanagan, all the way down to the Waterville Plateau. You're going to have some windy conditions on Saturday as the high pressure begins to work its way into north central Washington and the Pacific Northwest. The gradients are going to tighten up a little bit. Wanted to give you a heads up on that. So some breezy conditions to the north of us on Saturday, not so much down here in the Wenatchee Valley. Let's go out to the basin. Say good morning to Ephrata. Out at the airport, it's 34 degrees in Ephrata. Beautiful sunrise there. Gorgeous view. Good morning to the seat of Grant County, Ephrata, Washington. And finally, a camera we have never used on this program before. All I can tell you is that somewhere out there is the Columbia River. Outside of that, just a whole bunch. I think that might be the moon. I'm not sure. These Sky-Fi cameras are really, really good. Apparently, this is way down to the south and the east. Maybe, I don't know, Royal City or something. We've never used this camera. I don't know what we're looking at, but enjoy the view anyway. And you can see they have more blue skies down there than we have up here. You're going to see this slide and you're going to go, Dan, didn't you show this slide yesterday at this time about the possibilities of thunderstorms to the north of us? Well, this is a new slide. It just looks a lot like the slide that we showed you yesterday. Still some unsettled weather, especially to the north of us, but as you can see, the chance of a thunderstorm is creeped down right here, pretty close to the Wenatchee Valley. It's, again, not a great chance of a thunderstorm. If you live up to the north of us, if you live in the Medhow Valley or up in the Omak, Okanagan area, up in Tenaska perhaps, you could see a thunderstorm late this afternoon into the early evening hours when it's the warmest part of the day. Again, just the slightest chance of a thunderstorm, but there's still a great deal of unsettled weather to be dealing with to the north of us before the warm and dry trend comes our way. In fact, without any further ado, from the National Weather Service, here's what we're looking at. Again, you're going to say, well, there's a lot of clouds, Dan. Well, they're going to be leaving. Today is going to be the real transition day. We'll get up to about 58, they tell us, 35 for the overnight low tonight. Then we really get nice. How about 63 for Saturday? 65 on Easter Sunday, 72 Monday, 75 on Tuesday. The ridge of high pressure will be large and in charge really on Monday and Tuesday. We start transitioning to cooler weather, but still quite a bit of sunshine on Wednesday and Thursday, but it is just looking great. Another beautiful stretch of weather. We had that great stretch of weather about a week ago with record high temperatures, and we're going to do it again. Possible record high temperature on Tuesday, probably not on Monday. Just not quite enough there, but still no complaints at all. And again, the real transition begins today. By the time we get up tomorrow morning, we are in for just a gorgeous, gorgeous weekend. All right, that's the forecast. We're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, we're going to put the information that you need in your head. The Friday News is next. You're watching a Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Now is a great time to get an offer you'll love on the Accord Hybrid and CR-V Hybrid. Inventory is here, so bring on the fun. Bring on the weekend getaways. Bring on the memories. And get a great offer on a Honda, named the 2023 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
AmeriCorps allows me to make a huge impact on my community and kickstart my career.
AmeriCorps gave me the opportunity to use my skills for the greater good.
Serving in AmeriCorps gave me the opportunity to help in my community. Take a few minutes to see how you can help your community.
AmeriCorps does vital work in our region. You can make a difference. Join today and make the impact.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Considerable cloud cover, 37 degrees. Clouds will be 86 in themselves right out of the valley. We'll have quite a bit of sunshine this afternoon. Considerably warmer, gorgeous weekend with highs eventually reaching the 70s by Monday and Tuesday of next week. 8 minutes after the hour, the lead defendant in the murder of a Wenatchee teenager a couple of years ago has pled guilty to that crime. You might remember the murder of 18-year-old Yara Flores. He was shot to death in August of 2022 while he was asleep in his home in the 1600 block of Met House Street. Markel Leon Ford, who's now 20 years old, pled guilty Wednesday to first-degree murder for firing the gunshots that killed Flores through his bedroom window. Ford faces sentencing on May 1st, a sentence recommended by the prosecutor, just over 23 years. He was initially charged with aggravated first-degree murder and burglary that could have yielded a life sentence. An accomplice in the killing, Javier Puppet Valdez, pled guilty in November to murder as well as a stabbing attack he carried out on the Chelan County Jail corrections officer. Valdez is now serving 35 years in prison. 8th District Congresswoman Kim Schreier joined Representative Mike Steele and other dignitaries. They cut the ribbon at the brand new Chelan Douglas Community Action Council Food Distribution Center. It's the food program. They took over the old space. You might remember the old C&O Nursery on North Wenatchee Avenue across the street from Les Schwab. The new space and its food storage and distribution systems were paid for, in part, by $3 million in federal funding secured by Congresswoman Schreier and another $1 million in state money allocated through Mike Steele. Leaders say once it's fully operational, that'll be a couple of weeks, the food center should help provide aid to more hungry families throughout our area.
Oh, this is so incredible. One of my passions is just making sure that no children in this country go hungry. And so this is just a magnificent achievement for Chelan and Douglas counties to have this food bank, food pantry that is just remarkable. And we were excited to invest $3 million from the federal level, and then we have Representative Steele getting $1 million from the state, and then so many people from volunteers to city and county contributing to make this all come true. So delighted to be part of it.
Obviously, this is a project that's incredibly worthy for our region, but does great work across the rest of this whole two-county area. I mean, we're really working hard to help those folks who need it most, and that's, as I said in my remarks, that's why we do this work, to get the money to help the folks who need it most. I think it's important to know that we've made historic investments over the last several bienniums into food banks and food pantries, recognizing that every community has faced significant need, especially coming out of COVID, and getting folks the access to food. And as food prices and inflation continue to soar across the country, I think it's becoming a more and more utilized service. So all we can do to make sure that folks have access is pretty important to me, and the state will continue to make this a priority for them.
It's been a 4-year journey, and so to me it's a milestone. This is kind of the phase 1 for us, if you will, getting the food pantry open, and then we have the commercial kitchen, and then moving all of our offices here. But getting the community pantry open is the biggest step, really is. The need is tremendous. During the pandemic, we saw a huge spike in the need. We really thought it would start to taper off as we came into 2023, but now we're into the first quarter of 2024, and it has not leveled off any. We're serving around 10,000 individuals each month. And this will just be another opportunity for people to access food, and that's the exciting part about it, is we'll be able to have this space opened up multiple days a week for several hours a day, really taking down that barrier of this is your one opportunity for this couple hours a week type of an approach.
A conservation plan spanning 2 decades is going to be celebrated today at Rocky Reach Dam. The Mid-Columbia Habitat Conservation Plan, or HCPs, established blueprints on how to protect salmon as they work their way up the Columbia River, and they're doing it, and it's working. As of a study from November of 2023 showed the success of the program. 93% of juvenile salmon, juvenile Chinook, were able to safely pass through the Rocky Reach hydroelectric project. Well, they're going to celebrate that today. Regional leaders from the Chelan and Douglas PUDs will be joined by Senator Maria Cantwell, Congresswoman Kim Schreier, and leaders of the Yakima and Colville tribes are all going to be at the dam today to commemorate the HCPs. Signatories of the original HCPs also included NOAA Fisheries, the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife. City of Rock Island is using the Chelan County PUD's relicensing process to ask for better management of their lakes and ponds around the city. Rock Island Dam, of course, is just downstream from the town of Rock Island. Well, they're up for relicensing, and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is taking public comment on the PUD's relicensing plan until the middle of next month. Last week, Rock Island Mayor Randy Agnew submitted a comment letter to the FERC asking that the PUD be required to, and I'm quoting now, address the environmental justice concerns related to the Rock Island ponds, end quote, which fall within the hydroelectric project boundary. He says cleanup around the ponds has largely been handled by the city, and the city's been paying for it, and the PUD does not monitor the water quality there. Anybody, by the way, can review and give input on the relicensing effort. Go to ferc.gov and use the docket number, and it's down the road you go. A Pasco woman remains missing. She was last spotted in the Wenatchee Valley just about a month ago. She is 31-year-old Irene Fleming. She was visiting friends near the town of George in Grant County. She walked out of the home sometime between 4 and 5 o'clock on the evening of Sunday, February 25th. A witness told police they had contact with Fleming at an East Wenatchee business about 4 days later, and they identified her positively from photos. Now, Grant County Sheriff's detectives say Fleming is not necessarily in any danger. but she is still being sought. Anybody with information on Irene Fleming's whereabouts is asked to contact the Grant County Sheriff's Office or your local police agency. Commissioners for the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department will take up a question of what they call a fire benefit charge at their next monthly meeting. That'll be on April 10th. Fire Chief Brian Brett is proposing the new charge, which is based on square footage of a property rather than its assessed valuation. If adopted, he says it could reduce the fire protection tax on homeowners in the district, which extends pretty much throughout the Wenatchee Valley. The final base rate has yet to be determined, but it would be set each year by the fire commissioners. It takes a vote of the public to adopt the fire benefit charge. A change, I should say, the Board of Commissioners will decide next week whether to place that question on the August 6th ballot. And finally, a rural route outside the town of George is closed because of a canal breach. It happened Wednesday and the road is flooded. West Baseline Road, it's between Adams Road North and Road L5, had to be shut down to traffic after the adjacent canal gave way. This happened shortly after 9 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says the water undermined the road surface and made it unsafe to travel. Another road near Quincy, Road 9 Northwest, was also compromised by water between Highway 283 and Road F Northwest. That section also closed by County Public Works crews. When both of those roads reopen, we don't know. When they do it, we'll find out and we will let you know. And that's the news at 16 minutes after the hour. One more newscast before our weekend begins, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight, 5, 6, and 10, so you're in the loop on what's going on around our area. And if you watch your news or consume your television via the World Wide Web, we got you covered there too. Our news will be posted and ready to go on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and on our app. And that's how you get the app. If you haven't done so already, you can do it right now. Pick up your smartphone and click away to the QR code, and the app will be there for you, as will we. When we come back, opening day is always a magical time for baseball fans. Well, except for Mariner fans. They kind of stubbed their toe last night. Sports is 2 minutes away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
It's me, Blippi. Blippi's back on stage with his brand new Wonderful World Tour.
I'm an excavator.
Sing, dance, and make new discoveries. In Blippi, the Wonderful World Tour with special guest Mika.
My name is Mika. Yeah, it's nice to meet ya.
For tickets and more, visit BlippiOnTour.com. Blippi, the Wonderful World Tour.
The new Hummer EV is everything you want in an all-electric vehicle. It's powerful, reliable, comfortable, and will take you anywhere you want to go, on-road or off. Why buy one of those lesser EVs when you can have one that uses them for traction? Order your Hummer pickup or SUV today from Sangster Motors, batteries included.
Sports at 18 minutes after the hour. Tyler O'Neill was a Mariner farmhand. He used to play for the Mariners. He doesn't anymore. He plays for the Red Sox. He homered for the 5th consecutive opening day game. That's a new Major League record, and that led the Boston Red Sox to a 6-4 victory last night over the Seattle Mariners in a game that the Mariners never led.
Rafael for one. It's not great to start the season against a guy like this, but they do catch a little break. They might chase him earlier than normal, even if he's overpowering the 0-1. Swinging a high fly into left center field. Rodriguez back at the track. At the wall. Gone! Devers goes yard the opposite way on a cool Seattle night. A 2-run shot here in Seattle where he hit his first Major League home run.
Strikeout pitcher, and now he needs a strikeout right here with 2 on a scoring position and only 1 away.
Drawn in infield, outfield straight away.
Swinging a chopper toward third. It is backhanded there. They're going to try to come home. It goes over the head of the catcher. O'Neill has scored. Over to third is Yoshida. That might have hit Tyler O'Neill on the helmet. Now the Red Sox plate another run, 3-0. Rafaela does put it in play, and the Sox add a run.
Here's Mitch Haniger, 2 out runner, first Cal Raleigh.
Here we go.
Haniger.
There we go.
Out to right field.
Mitch. That's what I'm talking about.
looking for Mitch, man. Golly, great guy.
He's had some moments for the Mariners coming off the bench. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, high drive. Center field, slicing away. Giddy up, baby! Gone! Demo! Dylan Moore, everybody!
Emily Jansen takes the mound.
And here comes Luke Raley out of the dugout to pinch hit and make his Mariners debut.
Swing and a miss, and the Red Sox win it on opening night.
Well, you can't win them all. The Mariners and the Red Sox will go at it again tonight at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch. A pair of right-handers will toe the rubber. It'll be Nick Pivetta for Boston. George Kirby will take the hill for Seattle. So after opening day, who's leading the American League West? Nobody. Everybody lost. The Yankees beat the Astros as we go to the American League West scoreboard 5-4. The Guardians shut out the A's, 8-0. And the Orioles beat the Angels. So every team in the American League West lost yesterday. Let's move forward to Kraken hockey, shall we? There's the American League West scoreboard again. Everybody lost, so there we go. Kraken hockey. Ty Cartier scored the go-ahead goal with 6:57 left in the third period. Seattle rallies to beat Anaheim 4-2 last night. They swept the two-game set. Jaden Schwartz, Andre Burakovsky, and Matty Beniers all had power play goals for the Kraken.
2 for slashing. Here's McCann to the goal line. Everly shot, stop. They score! On the rebound, Jaden Schwartz bangs it home. Jordan Everly initiated the play. They'll talk about it. Schwartz will get the goal. Everly, we'll see. It could be Everly's goal. Face-off win. Move the puck from high to low. McCann to Everly. Throw to the front of the net. They have the game's only goal scored by Jaden Schwartz. Lundestrom, right in, he scores! Short-handed goal by Isaac Lundestrom. Anaheim's 10th shorty of the season. They've tied it. Comes out to center, look out! Short-handed break in, Silverberg turned down, they score! On the rebound, Jakob Silverberg. Back-to-back shorties in the same sequence. Anaheim by 1. Defers out to Jordan Everly. Schultz. McCann now for Schultz. Burakovsky in control. With a shot, they score! It's a Berkey bullet from up top. We'll see if it was tipped on the way through. Burakovsky gets the goal. The Kraken have tied it. He'll spin. Borgen, a shot wide. Oleksiak is on the rebound. Got Igor to the slot. Cartier scores! Hey, hey! What do you say? Ty Cartier! 3-2, Seattle! A shot blocked by Fowler. Burakovsky. McCann settles it. Vetrano's back, 5-on-4. Conventional power play. McCann scores! Beniers out in front. McCann from downtown. It's a power play goal. It's Matty Beniers. 4-2, Seattle.
Well, up until the goal, missed opportunity on the 5-on-3. Net front presence by Matty. And Jared McCann with that new stick, and you called it, John.
Seattle has beaten Anaheim 6 consecutive games. We like that. By the way, Seattle will be welcoming Dallas to town Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Hey, it's Friday night. Let's go dancing, everybody. The men's NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16 round, of course, both the Gonzaga men and ladies have advanced that far. In the Midwest region in Detroit, they'll tip it off at 4:39 on TBS. Number 5 seed Gonzaga, number 1 seed Purdue, and in the women's NCAA tournament. And you can watch both games because they don't start till 7 o'clock. They'll be in Portland in Region 4. Number 4 seed Gonzaga women will take on number 1 seed Texas women tonight. All right, to the Les Schwab Prep Soccer scoreboard we go. Cashmere just got by Chelan on the pitch 2-1. Cascade over Quincy 3-1. Grandview beat Ephrata 1-0. I don't know why the 0 wasn't there. That's my bad. Bridgeport beat Pateras 4-0. It was Okanagan over Oroville. Tenasket got by Liberty Bell on the pitch. Prep baseball scoreboard. Quincy all over Waterville Mansfield 22-7. Look at that score between Brewster and Oroville. Now, keep in mind, Brewster's a really good baseball team. They beat Oroville 24-5, and Manson just got by Okanagan 3-2. Prep softball scoreboard from Les Schwab. Tonasket got by Omak by just a couple of runs. Lake Roosevelt rolled over Bridgeport. Brewster rolled over Oroville, and Okanagan got the best of Manson. Your prep soccer schedule today: Wenatchee will be in Yakima, the gateway to Wapato, to take on Davis at 4 o'clock. Moses Lake will also be down south to take on West Valley. They'll get going at 7 o'clock. Quincy will be at the Bush School at 6 o'clock. Chelan will travel to the lakeside at the 9 Mile Falls. That's tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Also Saturday at 1 o'clock, it's Colville at Omak, and Manson will be at Brewster tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Prep baseball schedule: doubleheaders across the board in Big 9. Wenatchee will take on West Valley. First of 2 games at 4 o'clock. Moses Lake will take on Eisenhower. First games at 4 o'clock. Liberty will take on Lake Roosevelt. First game of that doubleheader at 2 o'clock. Eastmont baseball has the weekend off. Saturday, it is doubleheaders for Chelan Cashmere. First pitch at 11 a.m. Same deal with Cascade. They'll host Omak at a doubleheader at 11 a.m. First pitch in Game 1 for Brewster and Okanagan at 11 a.m. A doubleheader between Bridgeport and Manson in Bridgeport at 11 a.m. Single game for Cle Elum and Tonasket at 1 o'clock. And Waterville-Mansfield will take on Riverside Christian in the doubleheader at 11 a.m. on Saturday. The prep softball schedule for today: West Valley will be at Wenatchee for a doubleheader at Walla Walla Point Park at 4 o'clock. Royal will host Eastmont in a doubleheader at 3 o'clock. That's obviously a non-league game. Eisenhower will be at Moses Lake, doubleheader at 4. Quincy and Wapato at 3. And Lake Roosevelt and Brewster will host Liberty Bell and Tonasket respectively today. And then tomorrow, Glacier Peak's making a long trip, so they're going to play Eastmont at the Sterling Fourplex at noon, and then they're going to take on Moses Lake at the Sterling Fourplex at 2 o'clock. So both of those games, Glacier Peak at Eastmont and Glacier Peak and Moses Lake, will be actually at Sterling. And doubleheaders for Chelan Cashmere, Manson at Bridgeport, and Cle Elum at Okanagan. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. At 26 minutes after the hour, first of all, it's Good Friday. I need to mention that. It's National Vietnam War Veterans Day. We'll get to that in just a minute. It's Smoke and Mirrors Day. We're not going to do any of those because they're obscure holidays, and this is pretty obscure. It's National Ma and Pop Business Day today. And when we think about ma and pop businesses, I was a sole proprietor for a number of years in the early 90s. It's hard work. It's very hard work. In fact, 70% of small businesses are operated by just a single individual. Just one person runs a business. They're self-employed. 99.7% of U.S. employer firms are basically small firms. 64% of new private sector jobs are small businesses. That's a lot. There are over 28 million small businesses in this country, and there are only 18,000 businesses that employ 500 or more people. So think about that for just a minute. And 44% of the United States payroll is generated by small businesses. So give a small business a little love today. It's hard work. They'd appreciate it. But on the other hand, they get to be their own boss. If they want to take the day off and just put up gone fishing on the door, they can do that. Happy National Ma and Pop Business Owners Day. It's 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history, happy birthday to Coca-Cola. There's John Pemberton, Civil War veteran, brews the first batch of Coca-Cola in his backyard in Atlanta. He claimed Coca-Cola cured diseases. He was addicted to morphine because he was on painkillers after he was wounded in the Civil War. He wanted to get off morphine. Not a bad idea, John. He thought Coca-Cola did it. Anyway, Coca-Cola is 137 years old. And where did he brew the first batch? In his backyard in Atlanta. And Coca-Cola has been based in Atlanta ever since. Happy 63rd birthday to the 23rd Amendment to the United States Constitution. It's hard to believe, but before this date, in 1961, if you lived in Washington, D.C., you could not vote in the presidential election. You couldn't, because obviously the District of Columbia is a federal enclave. Congress sets the laws. Well, that was taken care of. How did it take that long? Of course, the Washington, D.C. still does not have representation in Congress. Residents cannot participate in the amendment of the Constitution if they wanted to, but a victory is a victory. They should take care of the rest of that. We mentioned it's National Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day because this was the day 51 years ago today, March 29, 1973, the last United States combat forces leave South Vietnam. Of course, we hung around for a couple of more years, left it up to the South Vietnamese. We all know what happened there. So today is Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Day, first established in 2017 because they didn't get a homecoming like the previous war veterans did. And finally, 39 years ago today, in the middle of the night, the Baltimore Colts load their possessions onto 15 Mayflower moving trucks in the wee small hours of the morning, and they headed off to Indianapolis. Robert Irsay, the owner of the Colts, who turns out was a pretty big jerk. His next-door neighbor was the president and CEO of Mayflower. He called him up and said, I need 15 vans, I need them now. And they were so afraid that the Maryland State Police were going to stop them on their way to Indianapolis that all 15 vans took 15 different routes until they were past the Maryland state line. Baltimore has never gotten over that. It is the bottom of the hour. Let's do some birthdays. We always do presidents. John Tyler, the 10th president of the United States, born in the state in 1790. He was the very first vice president to succeed the presidency without being elected to the office of presidency because his boss, William Henry Harrison, died. Tyler served longer than any president in U.S. history who was never elected to the presidency. But he also took over immediately. This was the first time a vice president had ever taken over for a dead president. But Tyler, he took the oath of office. He moved into the White House. He assumed full presidential powers. He was a member of the Whig Party. He was so unpopular that when he vetoed a National Banking Act, the Whig Party threw him out. They disbarred him. They said, you're no longer a member of our party. And he was the president. He is the only president not to be buried with an American flag. And check this out. He left the White House in 1845. John Tyler has a living grandson. John Tyler fathered 15 kids. He had his last kid, his 15th kid, when he was 70 years old. His son, Lyon Tyler, had his last kid when he was 75 years old. His name is Harrison Tyler, and he's still alive. So John Tyler was born when George Washington was the president of the United States, and he has a living grandson. Wow, that's hard to believe. There's a reason that the best pitcher in the American National League each year get the Cy Young Award, because Cy Young was born on this date in 1867. 3 career statistics that will never be broken. 511 career wins, 7,356 innings pitched. I'm amazed his arm didn't fall off. And he threw 749 complete games. Because the way baseball is today, those 3 records will never be broken. Cy Young, born in the state in 1867. And Sam Walton, the man who founded Walmart, which of course is still the world's largest corporation by revenue. And from 1982 to 1988, Sam Walton was the richest man in America. He was born in the state in 1918 and changed retailing forever. We have to thank our 3 big-time sponsors. Our platinum sponsor is Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. The heat of summer is coming. You don't want your AC breaking down in July when you need it. Go have Alpine Air. Take a little look-see. Make sure it's ready to go for the summertime heat. Also, a special thanks to our friends at Pool to Spa Services. Speaking of summertime heat, you ever wanted a swimming pool? They can take care of you. Or if you just want to soak in a spa, they got that too. Pool to Spa Services on Worthen Street by the Pybus Public Market. And special thanks to our friends at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista. Mike Magnotti's opinion today, I think, is very apropos for this Good Friday. His opinion is coming your way. Then wild playoff hockey, which is so different from regular season hockey in all kinds of different ways, is tonight. First game at the Town Toyota Center. Austin Dryday will join me when we come back. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, Western Christianity is focused on personal sin, considering the things that I have done wrong, saying that you're sorry to Jesus, and asking to be forgiven. Well, what about the sin of social injustice? Many of the lessons in the Bible aren't focusing on whether or not you stole a candy bar, told a lie, or said a bad word, but instead, a lot of messages, particularly in the Old Testament minor prophets and the major prophets too, they address things of social injustice. The Old Testament prophets were big on chastising God's people for focusing on themselves and ignoring the poor, the hungry, and society's outcasts. Maybe the church in America should start being more concerned about racial prejudice, economic inequality, and things like whether or not we are a society that cares for the dispossessed, instead of wondering if Jesus is someone's personal Lord and Savior. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Abby says thank you to all the hometown heroes making our community so great. If you know a deserving hometown hero, shoot us an email, hero@abby's.com. Every week, we'll thank some of these heroes with a free giant pizza. Abby's, proud to serve your community. Be a hero tonight. Treat your family and friends to Abby's famous hometown hero pizza. This giant features our classic pepperoni, tasty Italian sausage, and crisp green peppers for a one-of-a-kind legendary flavor. Visit abby's.com for a special pizza at a very special price.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Local cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue, family owned and operated on North Wenatchee Avenue, right next to Hooked on Toys. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue uses only fresh ingredients handcrafted with love, including authentic Hawaiian barbecue and Japanese-style ramen noodle soups. And the bubble teas will keep you coming back for more. Enjoy the culinary tour of the Pacific Rim with Hawaiian barbecue lunches and combo plate classics, as well as ramen noodle soups. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue. Enjoy their comfort food like you're one of the family. Well, the regular season is a done deal. It is playoff time, and playoff hockey is another beast altogether. Don't take my word for it. This guy knows what he's talking about, making his very first appearance on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley as the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. Austin Drade, hello, my friend.
Hello.
Happy playoff time.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. As we always do when we visit with Austin, we recap the week that was real quickly. Up in Victoria Wednesday, pretty tough loss. We're still stuck at that magic number of 3 points to lock down the fourth seed. But on Friday, a nice 4-2 victory, a hard-fought game, very physical. A lot of checks, a lot of chippiness going on. But Wenatchee pulled out what they needed to do, 4-2, thanks to a certain defenseman. As we roll highlights from Friday night, talk about a very good game. Against a very good team.
Absolutely. Well, the first goal I know is going to come up is Evan Friesen scoring the opening goal of the game. That one came just 3:50 into the game. Puck luck was really on the side of the Wild on Friday night. Kenta Isogai's shot got tipped into the net from in front with Friesen, and that made it 1-0. The weird one, though, I don't think anybody had better puck luck that I've seen in a long time than Carter Prasovsky. Shot one down the right wing glass, just planned on dumping it in, maybe get a change behind the players, something like that. There's an exit door partway down the ice, I think right inside the blue line, right where the linesman is stationed, and just hit the stanchion just right because the goalie came out of the net to get the puck, and the puck made a hard left turn and went right to the net. So 2-0 game after one, 2-0 game after two. The Wild nobody scored in the second period. But the Wild really jumped on the face-off dots, started getting some extra chances in the second period. Third period, Carter Prasovsky again with a second chance goal on his own chance in front of the net. Graham Sward sent one out of the corner, popped one up in the air and just didn't come off the stick right. But it stayed there long enough, so he batted it in out of midair and gave up one late, but big game for the Wild on Friday night to get the 4-2 win, and Wild are picking up home ice advantage and hopefully an extra playoff game at home as a result.
When I watched the extended highlights as opposed to the trimmed down version that you just saw, this looked like a team that was playing for that fourth place thing. They had a certain energy to them on Friday night.
They had a certain energy. They had a certain willingness to sell out and get the job done on Friday night. You talk about guys jumping in front of pucks, and protecting their goaltender, really standing up for Brendan G in the net, but making sure pucks didn't get through to him. They saw passes that were coming. They were thinking and playing a step ahead of Victoria for most of the night.
And kudos to Mr. G, too. He had a great night.
He had a fantastic night. 35 saves, made some big ones for us in that one. They got it down to a couple of goals a couple of times. Could have been a little dicey there at the end, but guys scored enough in front of him, and he stopped a lot of shots in that game, a lot of big shots to help us get that win.
In your memory, and I went and did as much research as I could, it's limited availability. Again, as you mentioned, Carter, as a defenseman, had a hat trick. I don't recall a Wenatchee Wild defenseman in any league that they've been playing for the last 15 years, a defenseman for the Wild getting a hat trick. That is rare.
I don't know that there's been one either. The WHL organization that has become the Wild has only had 2, and that hasn't happened in 15 years. So it's very, very rare, more rare than I thought it was when I started looking it up. But no, a hat trick from a defenseman, you don't see that very often. But if there was one guy on the team, maybe 2 guys on the team who would get it, Graham Sward would probably be one. Carter Prasovsky would definitely be the other.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that we already have a pretty good idea who's going to be the Chico's, Bill Bonds, Austin Andrade, Wenatchee Wild Player of the Week, but we don't want to spoil that. So that was on Friday. We clinched the thing, so obviously you want to rest all of your best players. Most of the front line rested, and that was the case on Saturday against Everett. 6-2, no big deal. Everybody at that point was pretty much locked in, and so that's what we did on Saturday. Kento rest, Isogai rested. I believe Carter rested, others as well.
Yeah, Landon Young was resting that game as well. It was a game that wouldn't have changed our playoff position, wouldn't have changed Everett's playoff position, wouldn't have changed any draft spots or anything like that for anybody. So that was a game, we talked about blocking shots, and a couple of the guys, Carter and Kenta and Landon, they picked up a little hail damage in the game on Friday night.
Yeah, like I said, that was a physical game. The Friday night victory was physical.
It was a physical game. They caught some pucks blocking shots and keeping them away from the net. So those guys especially, if it's a game that's not going to change anything of significance, go ahead and take those guys out, get them some extra rest, and get them ready for the playoffs, and that's what we did.
And now it is playoff time. The Kelowna Rockets and the Wenatchee Wild, these 2 teams are as evenly matched as you can think of. Kelowna finished just 1 point behind us. They won their last game of the year. So the Wenatchee Wild, 34-34-0, 72 points. We're locked in as number 4, coming in as the number 5 seed. The Rockets, Kelowna, 33-34-1, 71 points. These 2 teams, now 4 and 5 is always a good matchup because they're pretty close to one another. 1 point difference between both teams, almost identical records. This could be a real barn burner of a series.
I'm expecting this one to be a long and hard-fought series. You talk about what Kelowna has to offer. They've got one of the best scorers in the league in Andrew Crystal. Jari Kikkonen has had our number a couple of times. We were able to pick up a couple of wins in this building and forced one to overtime against them back in November. But this is a game where stealing one on the road, I think, is going to be all the more important. And would have been the same with Vancouver. All 4 games in that series were won on home ice. So winning a game on the road and stealing one away from home, I don't think you win the series without it, even though the Wild have home ice advantage in this one.
So to recap, back on September 30th, we lost to Kelowna 3-5. And then in the middle of a season long, was it 8 games in a row we won back in October, November?
Yes.
I think it was 8 in a row. The 5th of those was a nice 4-0 victory on October 28th, as we roll footage of that. But that was an entirely different Wild team in many respects before the trade deadline, and really a different Kelowna team from back in October 28th.
Yeah, both teams have had a little bit of turnover by that point in late October. The Wild didn't have Matt Savoy back, but Connor Geekie was back in the lineup, and we didn't have the players that came in from Swift Current and McHaggerty and Fluker and Ward. So there have been a few changes in the lineup since then, but nothing beyond those top players. Probably nothing quite as significant, but there has been a little turnover. The lineup has really solidified itself. Our top players have really locked themselves into their spots. So it's going to be a little bit of a different look as opposed to, say, the beginning of January, but probably not quite as different as people might think.
You mentioned the beginning of January, January 6th, we won a 6-3. That's right, 9 goals right here in our barn, a 6-3 victory. And that's when both teams, they had their rosters pretty much set, but they were still everybody was still feeling out their roles, weren't they?
Everybody, I think, was still feeling out where they're going to be the second half of the season. And in that game, that was the first appearance for our 3 new players in from Swift Current. So it was a little bit of a different look for our guys, and they were just getting their feet wet. Hadn't gotten in before the morning skate that day. So it was a chance for our guys to kind of get to know everybody and get the playing styles melded together. But I think our guys have done a great job of putting those playing styles together and really coming together as a group over the last 3 months since.
So this is the longest layoff since the holiday break. Of course, they played on Saturday against Everett. They don't play again until right here in this barn on Friday night. And so before we get to the playoff schedule, what is the Wild schedule for this week? We have what, 6 full days or 5 full days between games essentially. So rest, some light skating, keep in shape, keep your diet, but don't overdo it.
Mostly. The guys had Sunday off, and had a few of the guys skated on Monday, but most of the team had the day off if they wanted it. And the rest of the week, the guys are out there with full practice, ready to go. But after that practice time, we'll start to get very, very short because with games basically every other day, if you're not playing, you're spending some of that time traveling.
Let's talk about the Rockets. Give me a quick. Again, we haven't played these guys since January 6th, and the 3 games before that, the 2 teams were essentially, from their core, different. What can you tell me about Kelowna that we don't know since we haven't played them since January 6th?
Very good top line. We mentioned Andrew Crystal a moment ago. T.J. Ginla, who's the son of Jerome Ginla, who's a Hall of Famer from the Calgary Flames. He's been one of their top scorers throughout the season. So they have a lot of firepower at the top. And they have some solid depth as well. Probably not the kind of depth that you'll see on those top 3 teams above us, but they've got some pretty good depth on that team. And we mentioned Jari Kikkonen, who's been excellent in goal, almost 30 wins for him on the season. So a 5 seed, yes, a team that didn't quite get home ice, but certainly no slouch for a first-round matchup.
Game 1 Friday night, Game 2 Saturday night. They travel. The Game 3 Tuesday in Kelowna, Game 4 Wednesday in Kelowna. It's a best of 7. Everything is best of 7 if they need to. Games 5, 6, and 7 will go back and forth and back, which you really don't want to do. Kelowna is not a particularly long trip, as the crow flies, but it's not like the Tri-Cities or Spokane or Seattle, where the road trip really doesn't mean much as far as time in the bus. This is a bit of a haul.
It's not as simple as the 2.5 hours to Tri-City or the 3 hours over to Spokane or Seattle. It's not a bad trip, though. It's about 4.5 hours, a little north of that. So it's not a bad trip. It's a nice, easy trip to make. Plenty of good scenery to watch out the window. So, but it is a trip that we'll probably spend some time in the hotel and get the bus legs out of us before we play a game that night.
4 plays 5, 3 plays 6, 1 plays 8. That kind of deal. That's how it's stacked. The higher up you are, the lower the seed you play. Prince George looks good. Everett looks good. Portland looks good. Those are still, I think, the 3 teams to beat in the West, are they not?
They are. One of the things that I remember Regan Bartel, who's the play-by-play guy for Kelowna, saying is as long as they win that game against Vancouver on Saturday night, which they did, they get to play Wenatchee, which is ideal because then they don't have to play one of the top 3 teams. Everybody's got those top 3 teams on their radar. And Kelowna was able to, and the Wild were able to dodge having to take one of those teams on in the first round because you're going to get a good test from them.
Real quickly, before we talk about the playoff packages and how you get your tickets, we haven't really talked about the Eastern Conference because they're not us, but there is one team in the Eastern Conference that might be the favorite to take the whole damn thing.
Well, there are a couple. Saskatoon has been hot all season, but Moose Jaw, they've loaded up on some players during the stretch run, and they've got, I believe, 7 NHL draft picks on their roster now. They've been just as hot as Saskatoon was early in the season down their stretch. So there's probably 2 teams out there that really have a good shot at doing battle with somebody out here in the West for that championship at the end.
All right, Friday night, Saturday night. Hopefully, we won't have a Game 5, meaning we sweep. Tickets. Let's talk about that. How do you pick them up?
Single game tickets are on sale now through the website or over the phone or in the office. Those are $20 anywhere in the bowl. So if you want to sit a little closer, sit near center ice, find an open seat. You'll get some good value out of that, or if you want to stay in your seat in the wild zone down in the end where we shoot twice, that's where you've been all season. You like that seat, keep hanging on to that seat and keep cheering the guys on when they come at you during the game. But any seat is $20. If you get the playoff package, you can roll it over into the season ticket for next year, any home games that we don't play. And that one, you have to buy them in full, but you get a per game discount down to $15 per game should we play all the way through.
Is there any way for you, and you've been around the sport a long time, to describe to our viewers the difference between regular season hockey and playoff hockey? If you come Friday or Saturday night, you're going to feel kind of a different vibe in this building, won't you?
Yeah. When we moved up from the BCHL to the Western Hockey League, I've told people everything you love about the sport, the speed, the intensity, that gets ramped up with the move to the new level. When you move to the playoffs, everything you love about the sport, the speed, the intensity, in a lot of cases, especially late in the series, the desperation to keep your season going, that gets ramped up again. So everything that there is to love about hockey, you're going to see it at full tilt when you go to a playoff game.
It is Wenatchee and Kelowna, the Rockets and the Wild, Friday night, 7:05, Saturday 6, or is it the other way around?
6 o'clock on Saturday, 7 o'clock Friday.
I got that right. I appreciate that. And let's go Wild. Let's make this place as intense as we can possibly make it. Let's close out with what we always close out with, the Austin Andrade Chico's Bail Bonds Wenatchee Wild Player of the Week, and I have a feeling it's going to go to Mr. Carter. Am I not correct on that?
As much as I want to give it to Graham Sward for tying the defenseman scoring record for our organization, which has either been tied or broken the last 3 years, yeah, it's got to go to Carter.
Did you see his facial reaction after he got the hat trick? He was like, wow, like the best day of his life.
That's first one in his career. It's first one for the organization in 15 years.
So, Austin Andrade, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, go Wild. And hopefully, well, we'll see you next Monday, one way or the other. Fair enough? So we tape on Monday. So does that work for you?
We'll plan on seeing you on Monday. And if we end up winning 2 up there and winning 2 here, so be it.
Let's keep this going till like July.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that at all. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we will be right back.
Check out ClubProCashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you're calling on 35 plus years of experience in the Wenatchee Valley. Spending extra time in your home, you may have discovered an unwanted aroma. Stinky feet, pets, who knows what. Call Dick's today about installing their Train Clean Effects electronic air cleaner or a Rheem Halo ultraviolet air purifier. Either way, the air quality in your home will be improved. Proudly servicing all of North Central Washington, call 884-6444 today. The Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce presents Wonders of Wooden Avenue.
As Chelan's premier lifestyle store, Willow, find unique home decor, clothing, jewelry, and more. Come visit for a welcoming and memorable shopping experience.
Lake Chelan Sports is the place to find top brands like Hoka, Ons, Patagonia, and now a full line of Warrior products. With excellent customer service, Lake Chelan Sports has what you need.
Wonders of Wooden Avenue, North Central Washington's premier shopping district.
Still got some high clouds here in the Wenatchee Valley. We're still at 37 degrees. The thermometer hasn't moved at all since this show began about an hour ago. In fact, if anything, the clouds may have gotten a little bit thicker, at least here in the Wenatchee Valley. Some places are already starting to see the clouds thin out a little bit. Your complete weekend weather forecast, which by the way looks really cool, is coming up, but we have a little bit of time, and it's Friday. Let's do one more trip around north central Washington and the Wenatchee Valley with our cameras. We have the Heights camera tilted up a little bit. These are PTZ cameras. That's an acronym: pan, tilt, zoom. And that particular camera is a 4K camera, and I'm told that means it costs us $4,000. Pretty nice camera. We have that tilted up so you can see the slate gray skies. But again, they'll be thinning out, and we'll see some sun breaks this afternoon and very little wind. Let's see what's going on at the Hose Landing camera. This is directly across the Columbia River from Aniat. We have it pointed right down towards Rocky Reach Dam and the Wenatchee Valley, Mission Ridge up in the background there. That's a cool view from Hose Landing. That's a you can see the road there on the left. That's the road to get to the Hose Landing tower site, where they have transmitters and translators and repeaters. That is a very nerve-wracking drive for those people who need to do that maintenance. I've been on that road before. I didn't like it. I said a couple of Hail Marys on the way up and 2 more on the way down. Let's see what Leavenworth looks like at this hour. It looks something like that. Good morning to Leavenworth, the Bavarian village of Leavenworth. Beautiful view there, and all the snow is gone. It takes a lot longer for the snow to dissipate in Leavenworth than the rest of the valley. Well, they don't get as much direct sunlight. It's always a little cooler there. They always get a little bit more snow, but it pays off in the spring and the summer. Slide Ridge, high above Lake Chelan, looking down towards Manson. There's some serious clouds there. Can't even see Manson. Can't make out Rose's Lake. This, of course, will happen if there's a significant temperature variation between the water and the air. That's why the clouds are socked in up in the Manson area. Again, it'll burn off. And finally, is that it? Is that Slide Ridge? Yeah, I guess we did do them all. Hello. Gee, it must be Friday. We're going to take a break and do the forecast. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I hope so, on the NCW Life channel.
You've got a lot to do today. While you're out and about, remember to dispose of your unused medications safely and anonymously. It's a simple act that makes your home a safer place. Next time you're at the pharmacy, just place them in the drop box. To find a location, visit medproject.org.
All right, let's get your weekend going. First of all, we want to re-show you that slide that we showed you at the top of the program about the possibility of some pop-up thunderstorms. This would be late in the afternoon into the early evening hours, most of it to the north of us. We have a slight chance down here in the Wenatchee Valley of seeing a thunderstorm because we still have the unsettledness in the atmosphere. And a quick heads up for you folks in the Omak-Okanagan area and even up into the Waterville Plateau. You're going to have some windy conditions tomorrow as this high pressure ridge begins to shift and move into our area. The gradients are going to tighten a little bit, so you're going to see some northerly winds and pretty strong northerly winds Saturday morning in the Okanagan Valley and the Waterville Plateau. It will be dissipating as the pressure gradients weaken in the afternoon. So heads up, a bit breezy tomorrow morning in the areas I just mentioned. By Saturday afternoon, the winds will all be done, and we're not expecting really any wind at all here in the Wenatchee Valley. From the National Weather Service, here we go. How about some sunshine this afternoon? That's what we're looking at. High near 58, considerably warmer than the 51 that we had yesterday. The fact that the days are getting longer and the sun is spending more time in the sky helps warm up the planet quite a bit. 35 for the overnight low tonight, and then a beautiful stretch of weather Saturday. 63, gobs of sunshine for everybody. 39 for the overnight low Saturday night. Easter Sunday, sunshine. High of 65. We'll be popping into the lower 70s on Monday and Tuesday without a cloud to be had. Tuesday is when the high pressure ridge will be at its peak. It will start shifting out of the area and flattening out Tuesday night into Wednesday. We're still going to have a lot of sunshine, mind you, on Wednesday and Thursday, but we're going to cool down to more seasonable temperatures by then. That's it for us. Have a great holiday weekend. We will see you Monday. Until then, bye-bye.
CW Tech Alliance. Today's episode is a special one as we are joined by 3 influential women from CAFE, an organization dedicated to advancing family and community growth through education in our culturally diverse community. First, we have Tona Chacon, the newly appointed Executive Director at CAFE. Tona's journey with CAFE began in 2015, initially serving as a coordinator and office administrator, and her dedication has been instrumental in the organization's growth. Under the mentorship of the now executive advisor, Alma Chacon, CAFE has expanded and to offer 5 dynamic programs. Tona is excited to embark on a new journey in this chapter and continue the impactful work CAFE is known for. Next, we're honored to have Dr. Maria Morales-Sanchez, Programs Manager at CAFE, a seasoned educator, published scholar, and a beacon